Hey there, today you're going behind the scenes with me on a real engagement session and you're gonna see how I shot this photo. While this photo is epic, I can tell you 100% it was not an epic location. You're gonna see exactly how I made this happen. I'm gonna break it down for you right now. Hey there, I'm Katelyn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a place where we like to empower photographers to build both profitable and purposeful businesses while also letting you in on the behind the scenes of our day-to-day life. This session did not go as planned. We had a location in mind. That location closed early and didn't work out, and I ended up finding myself in this spot. Side note, this is from Canon R6, which is our membership site for photographers to watch me shoot behind the scenes. If you want to see their entire engagement session, if you want to see their entire wedding, if you want to see all the weddings that I've shot in the last 4 years, you can sign up below. You can actually try it out for 5 days for free. And I'm gonna go take you behind the scenes so you can see what that process looked like in real life. Hold around her, all right, just like this. And let's have your right shoulder, Danny, just dip a little bit. And you can actually let him hold over top of your arm. It kind of looks like he's protecting you. But if you wanna hold down, oh no, I like that. I like that. Let's see, well, maybe down because of the neckline of the dress. It's just so classic. So his arm can go around the waist again. Yes, and yes, there you go. But you can still tuck your arm underneath his arm even though he's holding, yes. So almost let his arm come forward and you put your arm underneath. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna have a blank stare for you, like right into the side of the bridge. You're looking right up at me, okay? Wow. Guys, you look like someone famous. I don't know who, but I'll think about it and get back to you. All right, here we go. Beautiful. Don't move, don't move. I love it. Let's change it up. Ryan's looking that way, and Danny, you're looking right at me. Keep your nose towards him a little bit, but then just let the eyes come to me. Wow, oh wow. Guys, are you seeing this? The reflection? Oh, I'm loving this. I'm loving it. Yes, wow. Okay, this is your sneak peek has to be this. It just has to be. She's looking at me and laughing here. Beautiful, laughing towards the bridge. Both of you look at me and smiling here. Your temples can touch nice and close. If you want to come in front of her hair, you can. I don't want to lose your face. So what I'm realizing in this moment is that this location, even though it was a backup location to the first location that shut down an hour earlier than I thought, I'm seeing potential here. Potential to create a portrait that will live in my portfolio gallery that I will be super proud of. I can see it. It's almost like I can see it through my eyes, and I have not translated it through my camera yet. So something needs to be fine-tuned to arrive at what I'm hoping for. Do you see that green in the top left corner? As I'm working through all this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what is making this look epic? How do I get a shot that I love? How to make the pose perfect, composition perfect, the background perfect? The lighting's great. I just know there's a good potential here for it to be really, really awesome like this. Oh, I love that. I really love it. But I'm debating in my mind, like, does it need to be wider? Does it need to be tighter? Is the compression of the water, is that really good? So anyway, that's why I'm kind of going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm not necessarily moving or changing position because I'm trying to make sure it's absolutely as epic as possible. And right here, I'm getting them to do, why am I talking so fast? A normal portrait as a way to kind of break up me trying to perfect that last pose. So you'll see this, like, oh yeah, breaking it up. See that dark green in the corner though? I don't really like that. So I'm trying to, let's see, we're going back into it. It's fascinating. I can remember in my mind thinking, no, I can do this. I can make it better. And there it is. I love it. And now look right up at me. You're looking down at her, one nuzzle. And stay like you are, but Danny's looking right up to the top of that column. Yes, oh my gosh, guys, killing it. And you can relax. I am so thrilled with those. So in the video, you saw that it was a process to get to a place where I had the final image that I loved. What I want to do now is show you the images that led to the final image and break down what was going through my mind that didn't seem quite right or wasn't quite enough. So this first image is one of the first images I shot. And my attempt was, okay, I'm going to do side composition. So I'm going to have kind of the flow. That's the composition. The negative space is leading to the couple. So the composition here was a good idea, but something was not working. This is what was not working here. It's this whole section. So that whole section, you can even see in the video, if you want to rewatch it, you can see in the video, where the line, those are shadows from trees on the edge of this pond. And so if you don't recognize that while you're shooting, it can easily just look like, oh, I mean, this is pretty. But in my mind, I knew something could be better here. So I didn't love this dark shadow in this image. The composition seemed fine, but again, and the pose was fine. I actually love this pose. So that's what I knew. I knew the pose was good. Something else needs to tweak. Okay, so let's look at the next image. This image is a change of composition, same exact pose. I'm getting rid of that dark shadow. So the shadow that you saw previously in this corner from the trees is gone. So why wasn't this good enough? Why didn't I just stop here and move on? There was a part of me that just knew, like, this is great, but it looks kind of like they're standing in front of a pastel blue, like kind of slightly whitewashed backdrop. There was an epicness to what I was seeing that I wasn't capturing yet. And so I think the issue with this image specifically was that it wasn't quite pulled back enough. So it's great, the pose is great. I actually think the composition is great and the negative space is great. I like that it kind of leads you to their faces here, but there's still something not quite right. But I think what was happening is that I was shooting this and I was looking at the couple and I was seeing the epicness of the reflection and I could just see something awesome, but I wasn't translating it through my lens yet. I wasn't able to take what I am seeing outside of the camera and translating it. And at this point, I'm working through problematic. It's like I'm doing a trial and error process. So I got rid of that dark shadow. This time I got rid of the dark shadow, but now I've got to do another trial and error. Like there's still something missing here. And this is what led me to my final image, is that it was an angle issue. So I love the composition here, love the closeness, love the pose, love that I got rid of the shadow. But what I really needed was to elevate. And you see me, thank goodness for mirrorless. I held it up and I shot from a slightly higher angle, and that did a few things. This is the final image that I love. So let's break down why I love it. The reason why I love this is because they are just surrounded by this beautiful reflective background and you cannot see the edge of anything. You don't see a little bit of grass here. You don't see a dark shadow here from the trees on the edge of the pond. You don't see anything heavy. It is just even, it's consistent, and I'm elevating myself a little bit higher, and that slight little angle change from here to here made all the difference. And I think the reason it made such a big difference is because you can see more epic spacing. It emphasizes the composition and why this composition works. It also pulls back enough to be able to see the really awesome reflection of the water behind them, and by pulling back and not being cropped so tight, it changes the level of compression. So now you can actually kind of see the ripples in the water and make out some of the clouds in the water, whereas on the shot before, where I was a little tighter and there was higher compression, it just looked like a wash of light blue. And so I feel like this final image is allowing me to use the epicness of the setting, and it's still a great angle of the couple. The other thing that is not so much a decision on my part, it was just a great aspect of this shoot. If he was wearing a black shirt, this image wouldn't look like this. That's something to pay attention to. Their outfit choices, which comes from the bridal guide and education for your clients, that makes this image as well. Because if they had anything dark and heavy besides their hair color in this photo, it would detract from kind of like the ethereal, light and airy feel of the portrait. So I love this portrait. Honestly, it's probably one of my top 5 portraits, I think, of 2021. I love creative angles. I love really beautiful backdrops. I love good color, and I love natural poses. And this has all of those things. It just took me a while to get to that place. So I think the main takeaway from this for you, as you go out and you are starting to shoot, what can you apply from this behind the image episode? It is that epic portraits stem from intentional process. That is something that comes from years of experience. But the more comfortable you are with posing, the more that you can kind of change up a pose so they don't get stale while you're trying to figure out visually what you want, that is going to contribute to being able to do this. Being more aware of composition and lead lines and negative space and dark shadows in the background. Once you start to notice those things, that's good. Sorry, there is banging in the background. There's loud noises in the background because there's a secret project happening in the basement, and it is going to benefit you. So just there's something coming. So if you find yourself in a shoot and you're like, I just know this could be better, my encouragement to you is rewatch this video and see how I manage the experience of my couple while I'm still figuring this out. And I think that's key. It's funny that I'm going into a posing tip, but I think it's key to be able to allow yourself space in the experience, not derailing the experience while you figure out your creativity, but how can you create space to be able to figure this out so that you go home with images you're like, man, I'm so glad I figured out that one little tweak to make this epic portrait. I'm so proud. And I think one of the greatest things is to recognize it's a process. And how can you create a posing experience where you can say to them, hey, you know what, go ahead and smile at me. And all the while they're smiling, you saw this in the video, all the while they're smiling and I'm saying, all right, perfect. And now back to that pose before, because it gives me another shot to tweak one more thing to get to this final image that I'm super proud of. So a theme that I think we're seeing in these behind the image episodes is that you don't want to stop with just okay. If you want creative portraits, you have to be able to challenge and push yourself and think, you know what, I think we could go a step further. I think there's something else here. So don't stop at that first shot. The first shot of this was fine. They would have been thrilled with it, but I wouldn't have been thrilled with it. So this is the stuff that makes me come alive as a creative and I love it, but I would never get to it if I just stopped at the first shot. So push yourself, challenge yourself, and I am hoping you will start to notice that you're coming home and uploading your cards and finding stuff that you're like, man, I'm good at this. And every photographer needs to have moments like that to keep going and to make it through the mundane part of our job that you may not love. So if you struggle with feeling motivated and you love being creative, I hope that this changes something for you by your very next shoot. Thank you for tuning in. If you love this, we do behind the image episodes all the time. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.